live from the Pathway Studios in Johnston proper. You are live from the Path.
And you're listening to Live from the Path. We're coming from the Pathway Studios here in Johnston proper.
Yeah, we are. ProHipHop.com.
I'm gonna be cool like you guys that when you guys randomly do the stand-up shots on the show.
I only remember standing up one time, and I was getting in a fierce argument with Ben about 8 years ago. And I can't remember what we were talking about, but we had tried out a new lighting scheme in the studio where all the lights were coming from below, and it looked like a third rent of Halloween. Man. It was horrible.
Do you remember when we? So this, it had to have been the first, maybe the first one or two shows we did. We had a musical guest. I think it was Jared. I think we had Jared in, and we did this so terribly. It was the cheesiest looking thing. Like Jared was being delivered via UFO.
Yeah, it looked like an X-Files kind of thing.
Oh, man. That was terrible. Okay, we've upgraded.
I realized after 15 seconds of standing up that was not sustainable for me.
No.
Nor was it a good idea because my Instagram feed, or our Instagram feed, had my face, and then the Live for the Path feed had my belly.
Oh, yeah.
And that's not what people log into the show to see. If it is, though, let us know.
Hey, I got a question for you guys. So, let's say somebody came up to you, and let's say just randomly you're putting a roof on a shed. Okay.
Okay.
And a neighbor from a catty corner across from you, your backyard to backyard, you and this cat, and he says, "Hey, you're a Christian, right?"
Oh, all right.
I said, yeah. He goes, "What do you think of this COVID?"
You're a Christian, right?
I said, well, it's I seem to be of less risk of it up here on the roof. And he goes,
"You're the coolest Christian dad ever, Ben."
And then he goes, "Yeah, but we know there's more to it, right?"
So I had a guy trying to sell this to me today.
Oh.
Okay, so so here's the thing. I think I know what he's saying, but what is he saying to me?
If I can tie it in with a conversation I had today, he goes, he goes, "I'm not a big conspiracy man, but like there are some Revelation type style things happening."
Oh man!
And I said, I got to be 100% honest with you. There are zero Revelation style things happening.
No trumpets are blasting.
There's absolutely no tie-in to the Book of Revelation at all, unless you are an American and you believe that the COVID is coming for you and you alone. The rest of the world has been under some type of oppression for the last 2,000 years.
Oh man!
Yep.
So there's 0 points from Revelation of which you should be tying this to.
That's what he was getting at?
I think it was end times conversation he was trying to bring out.
Okay.
Trumpets are blasting.
Now settle this.
Locusts are coming.
So first of all, where are people grabbing this from? And what are they trying to tie it to in the Book of Revelation, and how are they wrong?
I would say that people are trying to grab it from not knowing the Book of Revelation at all. And they think they understand the concept that Revelation is supposed to be about the apocalypse, which they also don't understand, and Armageddon, which they even less understand.
Yeah, they have a broad sense of tribulation.
Oh, okay. So,
trouble. Hey, we got trouble.
Yeah.
So let's see if you can do some people some good today. If you were to name the top 5 misconceptions from Revelation and clear it up, that would help people understand the Book of Revelation better, what would they be?
Okay, Buva, I'll trade with you, all right? I'll take the first one.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay, so I would say the first one is that the book is about you.
Yes.
Top misconception is you read the Book of Revelation, or frankly, don't lie to yourself. You didn't even read the frickin' book.
Right, exactly.
You saw it on the Ghostbusters about dogs and cats living together, mass hysteria.
Yep.
And Ernie Hudson on the bridge on the way to New York, or Dan Aykroyd, and you're like, yeah, I know exactly what's going to go down. So here's the thing. That book was not written for you. It was written by Pastor John to churches in Asia Minor, okay? They passed around as a letter, and it was meant as a book of hope, all right? And so when you see it describe things, and you're looking for yourself in it, you've made a mistake, because that implicitly looks at the people who received the letter and goes, not for you, sucker. This was meant for me, like John had you in mind. And not just like you, but I mean you, like you sitting on your butt somewhere in Indiana. And you're like, this is definitely for me, and it's for my time. And so everybody, like from 200 AD going forward, has made this mistake at some point or another and goes, this must be for me. It's not for you. Now, let me say this. it applies to you, but like if the only thing that you think that it speaks about is something that is relevant 2,000 years after it was written, then you totally misunderstand what John was trying to communicate to people who needed hope at the moment. So that's number one.
Number two, I would jump in, would be your misunderstanding of the concept of a prophecy. You are probably coming at it thinking that prophecy means future talk. It's always stuff that will come to pass eventually, and you think that means that kind of going in line with what Ben was saying, that it only talks about like 2,000 years from now, but like really hammering that thought process home. If you can no longer think of it as prophecy, as in like it's something later on in the future, you can't hold revelation in the regard that you have. It's impossible to do so. And so you're taking it out of their hands for 2,000 years ago and putting it into yours. It didn't talk about Apache helicopters for a reason. It's not that they were afraid to use that language back then. It's because that didn't exist then, and it meant nothing then. There were no nukes that we should be looking for now that had to do with something then because it was prophecy. There was nothing in that. It holds no weight whatsoever.
Okay, number three for me would be that you're well-intentioned in your understanding of biblical truth, but you believe that something has to be literal to be true. And that is not true. In fact, you don't actually believe that. You just think you believe that.
Right.
David's soul doesn't actually panteth. Right? Pick a psalm, bro. You understand that that psalms, for example, are a way of writing that communicate true things to you using imagery, using metaphor, using simile. Okay, even God Himself, you'll see Yahweh speak in the Bible, and He does this same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, He will allow language to breathe a little bit. As you read the book of Revelation, you're presented with a series of like fantastic images. It's apocalyptic writing. That is a genre. It's a specific type of writing. There are other examples. Read Second Esdras, like a lot of Second Temple Judaism writing that will use apocalyptic literature.
Mm-hmm.
It's intending to communicate true things, but it's not doing so through literal language.
Right.
Okay? So as you read some of those things, just think of it as a painting. John is painting a picture. He's communicating true things through images and through symbols. And like if there's something in you that rubs against it and goes, oh boy, once you start saying something is symbol, you're calling the Bible not true. That's absolutely wrong. The Bible is completely true. It's true, and it's trying to communicate you ideas, and it's using art and language and metaphor and simile and images and symbols to try to communicate those true things. And just recognize that if you're trying to communicate these otherworldly things from God's perspective, just know that our human language is going to kind of suck at that. And so John is going to stretch that language to its breaking point. He's going to use all kinds of fantastic images and understanding to communicate realities that, again, bring hope to a persecuted people in the first century that should bring hope to you. And so if the first thing that you think about when you think about the book of Revelation is tribulation, although there's a reality to the truth that Revelation is trying to communicate as it regards to those types of things, you're misunderstanding what's trying to communicate, and you're abdicating responsible Bible reading by doing so.
Number four is the concept of rapture. I think you're probably getting wrong. If you are looking into the happenings, the dealings going on in Revelation, and all the pain and the bad stuff happening, and thinking to yourself, I really hope that I'm a part of the rapture that says that I'll just be sucked up before all this stuff happens, and it's not going to affect me at all. I think you need to take a step back and look at the entirety of Christianity and people being Christ followers. Rarely ever are God's people taken away from the pains that happen here. It just doesn't happen. The people that are followers of the way are given, pain. There are things that are going on here. There are martyrs that are happening. People are being murdered for their faith all over the world, throughout all of time. It's just not a thing to believe in. If you're looking at the context of the Bible, where you think you believe that you understand things that are going on, rarely ever are God's people just saved from that kind of worldly pain. And so, if we're to take from the rest of the story and the rest of humanity and the rest of things that have happened within the people that follow this religion and follow God, we cannot hold true that this rapture is just going to suck us all up, and then the people that are left behind, that concept, are just not the ones that were chosen and are going to be in some pain. There are real things happening to people. This has been going on for thousands of years. actual trials and actual pain has been happening to martyrs. Even Revelation talks about the martyrs that are underneath the throne room of God, and they're calling out to God, saying, "God, is it time yet? Like, is it? We're chained under here. Is it time yet for you to do this wrath thing, to bring this all out?" And he just goes, "No, not yet. It's not yet time. More people will suffer. More people will hurt." I think it's just out of context for you to believe that the pains that are happening in this kind of book that were relevant 2,000 years ago and aren't some future cataclysmic event that we're waiting for, that we're just going to be completely exempt from it is foolish.
Yeah, and to reinforce that, I would tell you that, and I know you're not doing this on purpose, but there is a level of arrogance that says this must be the biblical tribulation when pain finally shows up at my doorstep.
Right.
When it has existed on others' doorsteps for a very long time.
Especially in America.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, for some reason we believe that when trials and when persecution, which American Christians are the worst at throwing that word around like it's something new, and it's not like something that's been happening for thousands of years. Anything that's happening because of the current government, anything that's happening because of the current social climate to American Western Christians being called the kind of revelatory persecution is arrogance. It's absolute arrogance. There are people that are being murdered throughout the world that has been going on for thousands of years. You cannot call this new pain that you're experiencing because something has infringed upon your absolute freedom as a possible reason to say that revelation is happening.
And so here's the final one I would say, and I suppose this is more related to how you react to it. Is a lot of the folks that I see talk about this, is COVID-19 part of biblical prophecy? Is it are we part of the end times? Blah blah blah. Here's the thing: if you even remotely believe that, like let's hit the fans, man. Like let's knock on the doors. Let's grab and teach good news to absolutely everybody.
Right.
But that's not what I see happening. I see a lot of finger wagging. I see a lot of people go, "This is it. We've brought this upon ourselves by electing Trump. We brought this upon ourselves by allowing Obama to become in. Like, this is stupid. This is foolish." And frankly, even if those were the image that Revelation is trying to communicate, which it isn't, your reaction to those things is absolutely horrendous. It's the exact opposite of what John is calling these folks to do. The prime call in the book of Revelation is for the saints to persevere. For the saints to persevere, and frankly, there are multiple offers in the images that come through Revelation for people to turn and repent, and most of them don't. But there's a glorious time. There's like one time where they do, and like that's the work we're supposed to be involved in. Frankly, that's the reason John wants people to persevere, so the good news will persist, so the love of Christ will continue to move on, and so. Your shallow reading of the book of Revelation, and here's the deal: smart people who love Jesus disagree with me on how I read the book of Revelation. Fine, I'm all right with that. As frankly, as long as you take away the right output, and if your output is to say, "Oh, at least we get out of here before the trouble starts," that's wrong. That's wrong. It's not even close to right. Our Savior suffered and died. Every one of the disciples also was martyred. And so your thought that the Christian shape of life is that we get to bail before trouble starts as opposed to being the people who are fighting to save those in the midst of trouble, you are just mistaken.
Right.
You're just mistaken. And so even if the theology behind the thing that you believe about Revelation was true, your reaction is not right. It can't be good.
Right.
So I would say if your takeaway from reading the book of Revelation is to look at the world and go, great, now you have what's coming to you. Can you imagine that coming out of the mouth of Jesus? The same Jesus who looks out and goes, "Forgive them, Lord, for they know not what they do." And you're like, great, now you have what's coming to you. You're a fool. Stop being a fool.
Yeah. If you walk away from the book of Revelation in fear, you're missing it. You're absolutely missing it. I hear too many people that read that book and then walk away afraid of some cataclysmic event that is going to be on a scale that we've never seen before and we'll never see again, and there's going to be, just blood red skies, all this different stuff. We should be fearful of that. Jesus says in the beginning of that book, calling himself the Alpha and the Omega, he's literally in control in all of it. He never loses control once. He never runs out of control. The beings that are in the throne room of God that are all seeing and all knowing would in that thought process know about these crazy cataclysmic Armageddon style events, which again you don't understand Armageddon like you think you do if you think it's going to be the Bruce Willis movie in an asteroid.
Not a thing.
That's not what it is.
It's a location.
It's a location, and if you're waiting for some crazy battle to break out and like all this warfare to happen, you're going to have a lot of build up to one moment that goes, oh, it's already happened. Look, it doesn't come through that way.
Yahweh says, I'm here.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
over.
He's literally he's Alpha and the Omega, beginning and the end. These beings that are all seeing and all knowing, that therefore know about this cataclysmic event. The only thing that they do in their immense wisdom and omniscience is worship Yahweh in his throne room. That is literally all they do with the wisdom of the entire universe. They go, holy, holy, holy is the Lord God Almighty, who was and is to come. They recognize that through knowing everything, the only thing that has merit, the only thing that has worth, is worship of Yahweh in his throne room at his feet.
You know, that's a great point. I guess I never thought about that. But like, given that the world with eons of knowledge and all the possibilities, the people in the throne room go, this is all there is. That's all there is to say. Like, they don't try to jazz it up. They don't try to use big flowery language. They're like, holy, holy, holy.
Yep.
Like, this is it. I got this covered. Yeah.
Right.
Those are good takeaways, boys. 5 things to refresh. Here's the thing. I can't remember how many times when I was a younger man, probably from the ages of 10 to 25, and I would drive home at night and it'd be like a harvest red moon. And I'd go, this is it.
This is it.
This is the
I'm
thing.
not ready.
Mike's one of the watchmen on the walls.
I'm not good with the Lord. I have not straightened this out. Right? Like, I had no understanding of Revelation at all. I also actually had no understanding of grace,
Right.
or the fact that God was not mad at me all the time. I was almost certain that, like, based on my behavior for the day, God was upset at me and did not love me until I would show up and do something different and go, hey, here's all the bad crap I did. I hope you can find it to love me again. You know, and like a petulant father that you just could not please. You know, and like it was, and you tie that with the threat of a Revelation style apocalypse all the time, and like every time, even a shade of the moon that would turn slightly pink, I'm like, oh no, but I've not reckoned this, I've not fixed it, and like, what a misunderstanding of the love and sacrifice of Jesus Christ and Yahweh, right? Like, it's a complete misinterpretation of the way that God is. And if you read the Bible, if you read the Revelation, and it seems like a complete opposite character of the Yahweh that was in the rest of the Bible, then you have to be taking
You're reading
it in
wrong, yes.
right? If God says I am the same always, right? And you go, but you're way different in Revelation.
Yeah.
Nope.
John was a pastor of a church for upwards to 90 years now, or like 60 years, and had been leading people towards Christ this entire time. He's not randomly going to change his entire character and write this revelatory book, this letter, to the churches in Asia Minor to scare them.
Right.
That makes no sense. Like, he's been calling through multiple publications for the perseverance of the people of God, for the perseverance for Jesus, for the good news to continue to spread, for people to be doing the things that they were called upon by Jesus to do in the beginning, and encouragement for these churches from Asia Minor for years now. He's not just going to randomly be exiled to the Isle of Patmos because they tried to murder him and failed at trying to murder the guy. He's not randomly going to switch his story about Jesus and go, oh, buddy, when I send this to them, they're going to read it and freak.
I told you, I know what Jesus said, but like, I'm like an uncaged animal.
Right, exactly.
Right? That stuff that Jesus said was just, it was something. My son just started running his yap, but here's the deal.
Yeah.
I am an unruly beast.
Yeah, the apostles have mainly all been murdered by this point in time or died. Jesus has been gone for a while now, at least up and ascended to heaven. The temple's been destroyed. All of you are in despair and thinking, is there a possibility that God has left us and has lost all of his power? Rome is persecuting us. We are being driven from our homes. Here comes old John from Patmos with a big right hand.
The streets will run red.
Freaking people out,
All
saying
right, John.
there's a 7-headed dragon coming out of the sea, and you better freak out about it. No.
Now, I mean, just to I suppose for balance, I mean, there's totally a sense of justice
Right.
in the Book of Revelation, right? There is if you reject God as king, then or Christ as king, then you end up on the other side
Agreed.
of him as king. Yes, I mean that is very much described there, but like I think the notion is, as Christians, we're to weep for that.
Right.
Right, we're to mourn for that. We're to mourn for persecution that exists. We're to persevere in the face of it. We're to trust that God is just and that the work that he has us to do is right, and it should continue in the midst of anything.
Right.
And there's nothing about any of those situations of which we should fear. which causes fear. In fact, the very thing that we take in as fear is what God intends for hope. And like, if you don't find hope in the fact that God's got this thing under control, even when you don't understand it, like one of the things that the Book of Revelation does is it does come back and try to give you a different perspective. It says, look, here's you know what's going on. What's the name of the guy? I think it's chapter 2, who was martyred at the church, one of the 7 churches. I can't remember.
The guy that was martyred?
Yeah. He talks about. John writes about the guy. Oh man,
I have no idea.
Okay, hold on. It may not be necessary to find it. Anyway, the guy had one of these guys in one of the churches had been. He calls him our brother somebody. Anyway, so like that guy died by he roasted in a metal bowl.
Oh yes, I know. I don't know his name, but I know exactly.
Yeah, right. So like, I mean, this is horrific. This guy dies for this type of thing, and people are like, "What the heck is going on? How do I even take this in?"
Yeah.
And one of the things that John gives you is the chance when he gets taken up into heaven, not a rapture, and certainly not everybody, it's just him.
Yep.
He gets to take a peek into what's going on behind the scenes. And what you see behind the scenes is this notion of constant battle of evil. The presence of evil, the influence of evil, how it presents itself, it's propaganda, it's false prophecy, it's masquerading as true and good religion, as a true and good king when it's not. Like you get to see behind the scenes of evil and how God has it within his control, how he deals with it, and ultimately how it comes to its end. We are to find hope in God's control of those things, not fear because of the events that may surround it. Like that's the mistake. It's supposed to be a book that communicates hope, and if we take away fear, we've missed it.
Yeah, no, I agree entirely.
Hey, and so look, just at all, if you're interested in this, I did do some classes on this. I did I want to say 6 classes on how we should think about the end times, walking through, the everything where as we're talking, you're like, yeah, but what about this? And yeah, but I don't know about that. I covered. I've got a podcast of some teaching that you can hook up with on 6 classes on the end times, and there's 8 classes out there on the Book of Revelation. Okay,
they're good. I've listened to them.
Yeah,
same.
So let's we'll get those out on the social media or whatever. We'll get some links out there so you can go check it out, and then you just listen to you don't have to listen to anything else on the deals. I just stashed stuff out there, but like those were legit. And I think they're pretty helpful, and at least you know where we're coming from. It's biblically grounded. I just don't want to believe this way. I believe it because I walked into to studying the Book of Revelation, failing on probably all 5 of those things we just talked about.
Yep.
And then on the other side of it, I go, boy, this makes a lot more sense to what Yahweh is trying to communicate, and frankly, how I understand how to read Scripture anyway.
Yeah, exactly. I think there's a lot of elements in there that some will remiss. Like what do you always say that numbers are weighted. Not measured? What is it?
Yeah,
weighted, not measured.
Yeah, weighted, not measured, right? Like so numbers have symbol and they have weight to them, and it'll change the way that you read a lot of your Bible and a lot of the way that things are interpreted, a lot of the way that it's written. And really, I think the number one thing that tends to help me is the cultural perspective. It does not hurt for you to understand what was going on in the time of the things that they are written. Right?
It usually helps.
Yeah, it really does help. There's a lot of references that we make just talking to one another in an everyday. Like if I were to walk up to Buva and be like, "Hey man, I'm feeling a little rough today. I might have the COVID." Like culturally, if you take that exact statement, even 200 years from now, they're like, "The what? The
What's that?
COVID?"
Yeah.
Right? Like it's a thing that is culturally relevant to me and my time, and like there's all kinds of things like that. That are written in your scripture that like when someone makes Jesus will make a side reference to something that's going on in Rome right now and you have no idea, and so you just run with it and decide it applies to you, and then it has something to do with Wrigley Field or something. You're like, you've pulled this thing way out of where it lays, right? It doesn't work that way. So like it really doesn't hurt. You don't have to be a Bible scholar here, but like if you're willing to sit down and let someone kind of explain it to you of what was going on at the time, I think you'll find that it's immensely immensely helpful. To know some of those things. I saw a guy driving a lot. In fact, I was talking to a guy that I was driving with earlier this week, and the guy in a license plate came rolling by with a 666 license plate.
Oh, jeez.
And the guy I'm riding with, he goes, "Oh yeah, that's the mark." And I'm like, I think we're going to turn the radio down and we're going to talk about the Book of Revelation for a little while, because that is absolutely. First of all, that man went in there and asked for the 666, whatever conspiracy where you think people are stamping it on you or embedding it in your skin.
It's the mark of the beast,
right? This is like this. These are numbers that are weighed, right? And so it led to a pretty good conversation. But overall, the more you understand that stuff, the more it takes the whole thing out of the clouds and kind of points back to what it's actually trying to say.
All right, hey, you're listening to Live from the Path. You know what? That reminds me of a thought I had this week, and I was thinking about it on the way here, and I hesitate to even bring it up because it opens up like a 40-year-old can of kombucha. Like it can just explode all over everywhere, you know. But so in reaction to the COVID, there's a lot of hot takes on it. There's a lot of videos and articles and stuff
and graphs, a lot of graphs,
some graphs about the origin of it and who's concocted this thing and who's at the helm, who's driving this bus to try to manipulate people and propagandize and blah blah blah. Conspiracy theories, if you want to put them into a bucket. There's a lot of that going on, and I saw a lot of tampering this week, or tempering of people going, hey, you know, Christian witness sucks when you believe a conspiracy theory. Okay, because then you look like you're crazy. And if you believe crazy things, then maybe Yahweh is crazy. Maybe following God is crazy. That's the line of thinking. Now, I'm going to tell you this. Following Jesus in the way that he calls you to live your life, if you don't have a little bit of crazy in you, you misunderstand what the Bible is trying to explain. Okay? So if the rest of the world doesn't look at you and go, what the hell is going on with those people? All right? There has to be, and that's not because you're like 90% denim on. That's not what I mean. What I mean is,
did you say 90% denim on?
Although that is all right.
We're walking around in Canadian tuxedos now.
Here's the deal. I think I've told you this before, but that's so we homeschool, and like that's how I bucket off people in the homeschool community is percentage and levels of denim. Okay, and here's the deal. You'll spend 3 months around groups of folks, and when I say they're one of the 90% denims, you'll be like, yeah, you know what they're about. You know exactly what they're doing. They make it. They make it at their house. They're 90% denim because they order it and they sew it at home. And so if you're a 50% denim family, that means you can mostly blend in with the rest of society. And homeschoolers will just notch their all the way to like 98. Although the guys don't tend to follow. Ladies tend to be full denim. Dudes don't tend to follow.
I don't think they sell dudes denim jackets.
Yes, they do.
Yes, they do.
No, they don't.
I own one.
No.
Yep. I look like Wolverine. It's the worst thing ever.
You wear that next week. You bring that in?
If I can find it, I will. I know there's pictures of it. If I can't find it, I'll find the pictures.
Okay, Denim Monday is next week for Move It. Okay.
It is rough.
So anyway, here's the thought. I'm going to tell you up front. I don't freaking know. Like, there's a lot of things that people are trying to think through, and they're posturing, and they don't have data, and they don't have facts. And I'm going to tell you that is true for the main narrative as you are for every wild kook on YouTube. Okay, you're all in the same boat to a certain extent. You're not working with a full set of facts. But I will tell you this: if your reaction to anything that feels conspiracy theorist is that there's no way any of that's going on, I think you're being blind. And here's why I think you're being blind. It's not because I think Dr. Fauci is trying to subject people with the virus. I don't. But I think we are woefully open to the reality of evil. Because a general reaction to things like this is to say, people would never do that.
Right.
No one would ever act like that. No one would ever try to manipulate people on that level. No one would ever try to do that type of thing just for their own power, just for greed, just because that they wanted to, or they had a gasp to try to manipulate humanity like that. And then you think to yourself,
that's happened many times.
They probably would do that. Now, so if you combine, here's the two things that get people to say, look, none of this stuff could occur. The first one is we don't rightfully understand the presence of just evil. There's evil in the world, and it tends to work in systems and governments. I'm sorry, it does. The individual evil doesn't go very far. Okay, it might kill a few people on your block, all right, but it doesn't generally persist beyond that. Systemic evil that manipulates people, that is generally under the guise of greed and power, tends to express itself in institutions and governments. Okay, so is it everybody who's been under one of those types of things went, nah, couldn't be. Okay, so one, I think you have to be careful of how quickly you would reject the concept that there might be such a thing as institutional evil. World War II, World War One, most of Eastern Europe.
Insert blank war here.
Yeah, whatever. Like there's always something behind that. Okay. The second thing is you reject it because you didn't think of it. Anything you think is outlandish, you're like, oh, well, that's outlandish. No one could possibly, because it's smarter than you. You hear something that someone could have, someone proposes something, you're like, oh no, there's too many things connecting. No, I could not have orchestrated something like that. It must be wrong. Okay? So, here's what your Papa Ben is telling you. Okay? Do not believe every conspiracy theorist coming out of the woodwork. Frickin' check facts. Don't act like a non-Christian that you don't have any hope, and don't get hyper involved in things that you have no frickin' clue. Okay? If you're wanting to know, like, I don't believe 99% of the things I've seen. However, it occurred to me that it is not out of the realm of possibility for a lot of those things to be true. Mm-hmm. It could be. And to the extent that you reject that, you run a very serious risk that you do not have your eyes out for evil. And I think there's a blindness in that. Okay? So this is not my ticket to say believe everything you see on the internet, but it is my encouragement to you to not reject the possibility of human greed, human corruption, the propagation of evil, and don't reject something because in your own arrogance, because you couldn't think of it, it can't be true.
So actually, that is it's kind of along the same lines as why I tend to disregard conspiracy theories, because unless Chick-fil-A came up with COVID, I've not seen an organization that I think could pull this off at the scale, right? Like, I've seen Walmart on Black Friday. I've seen the government promise that they're going to accept tax returns on February 3rd and then not be able to accept tax returns until February 27th. And I go, what the flying heck? Yeah. I'm supposed to believe that you guys have agreed to pull off this flawless conspiracy? You can't even get, I mean, they could do nothing right.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Yep.
And so, like, if I was to look, and this is not a slam on the government, this is a slam on people in general.
Can't do it.
I can't get 6 people in one room to decide which restaurant we're going to go to. I can't get the 4 people in my own family to decide what we're going to eat. And then all of a sudden I expect a worldwide conspiracy of multi-thousands of people for no apparent reason, like, oh, there's always money in the back. Well, where? I mean, who's making money? We selling them? Is it the mask guy? The guy who sells the masks? He's like, I've really finally come to my own. I'm making the big money now. Everybody laughed at Bob, but look at Bob the mask man.
It was Charmin.
It was Charmin. The toilet paper industry was going down.
But here's the deal, man. That's why they've been doing it wrong the whole time, is so that you could never place blame on them because they can't get anything else right.
We were just about ready to switch back to the bare hand, and then all of a sudden the toilet paper crisis in 2020. So here's the thing. Ben's right. I generally dismiss that stuff out of hand because, frankly, I just don't think people could get along well enough to pull it off.
Yep, I get it.
The only conspiracy theory that I can ever really get behind is the thought process that Trader Joe's intentionally makes their parking lot smaller than they need to be so that they look busier than they actually are.
I think that's smart living.
That's what I believe in.
Yeah.
I think that's
man,
what's
the Trader
happening.
Joe's is packed again.
Yeah.
The place is great.
Oh, man, people are always coming here. I need to be here also. No, you don't. Yeah. There's not that many cars in the parking lot because the parking lot's smaller.
Do people do that? If I pass by a store, it looks like there's a lot of people in there.
That's not a thing at all.
I'm not going in there. I'll go somewhere else.
I'm sure there's some herd mentality in existence of American commerce that goes, hey, that place is busy. I need to be there too.
Yeah, I wonder what's up. I wonder what's going on.
I wonder if there's a sale going on at the Joe's.
I never think that.
No, I've never once thought that either. If there's a place that's packed, I don't want to be there because there's more people there.
Yeah, I want space.
It's the concept of understanding that a system and a process flow has a breaking point, and it usually breaks down when people are bending it.
So, actually, I thought about this the other day. What time do most people actually eat lunch? Right? Because anywhere between 11 and 1:30.
11 and 1.
If I think that I'm going to go eat, I'm like, oh, man, it's like insert between 11 and 1. That place is going to be packed, and I don't want to go.
Never packed?
So I will wait till like 2:30 to eat.
Oh.
Which will absolutely ruin my dinner. But I didn't want to go there when there was a bunch of people in there.
I mean, I think the acceptable range of lunch is usually 11 to 1. At least that's what I would say.
So do you think that people are changing their eating habits to try to avoid the rush? Be like, hey, it's 11:45. I bet if I push this off till 1:30, then the line will be down. And then 1:30 becomes packed because that's what everybody thought.
Well, you got to realize a lot of these people are stuck to a schedule. Like, they're not the ones who choose exactly when they're going to lunch or not.
What kind of freedom is that? You live in a box, sir.
Welcome to the American working people.
You've built your own jail.
Welcome to people that have scheduled lunches, Mike.
Man's got to eat on the man schedule? Whatever.
Yeah.
No. Okay.
I mean, I hate to break it to you, but there's a lot of people that exist in that wheelhouse.
No, I'd quit. You can't live like that. I mean, how many?
I would love to be your HR manager.
How many
that
fair-
I go, okay, your schedule is this, and we need you to take a lunch at this time.
Can't do it.
To cover all of our
There's a
our
bunch of
business
people
needs.
at the Bebops at 12:30. I ain't taking no lunch at
To
12:30.
cover all of our business needs, we have to scatter schedules. We have to scatter lunches, and you're going to be here. And you go, no, I can't handle a scheduled lunch. I'm out of here.
That's not going to work for me.
I would have to fill out your termination and/or resignation paperwork as reason of resignation is we had an expectation of a scheduled lunch.
Now you got to force me to resign on your time schedule too. What are you, the Gestapo? I mean, I feel like I just
yes, I'm an HR manager. That's exactly what I am.
just want to live my life, and I feel like these
Moses.
people trying to tell me when I got to eat all the
This is
time.
phenomenal.
Who tells a person when it's time for them to eat?
Most of the American working world.
Hey, it's time for you to eat. What? I mean, you feel like a bag full of kittens here, right? I'm a grown man. I'll decide when it's time for me to eat. You're just trying to tell me I got to get off the phone.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. I guess I'm not telling you what time it is to eat, but I'm going to regulate what you can have when working, and I'm going to regulate when you can be off of said work.
Boy, I don't want to work at your company. You're like a jailer. You're like the warden. Hey,
I'm the warden.
I say it's time to eat. Can you realize how stupid this sounds?
Oh, man. Just all of HR and resource management teams are absolutely unacceptable to Mike. They just are outside of any realm of acceptable behavior.
Stand back to the thing that you're saying. Stand 20 feet back and realize how stupid it is that you have a team of grown adults telling you what time to eat.
I am a business. I have business hours. I have needs as a business. I have a certain amount of people that I can allocate towards resources that take care of the business that I have. So I have to manage those resources.
So we get to throw all human decency out the window, and you get to rattle me around like a caged beast and tell me when it's feeding time.
I really want you to go and just picket all of corporate America right now and stand outside of, I don't know, any kind of call center, any kind of open business that has any lunch hours, any people who work in fast food who have scheduled break times, any people who work in retail who have scheduled break times. All of these people need to unite and go, I will take my lunch when I want.
Here's what I'm saying: is that this is the big misconception. Like, you live in the freest land of all, right? You live in America, and then someone says, "Oh, okay. Let me learn about your country." So, do you decide when you eat? No, my boss tells me when I eat. Oh, okay.
You know what you also have the freedom to do, Mike?
What?
Go find another job because I have the freedom to not employ you.
No problem. I don't want to work at your jail.
And then the next
next
jail you go to that goes, yeah, you're going to take your lunches around this time.
It seems like
and
you're-
you go,
you're
this
walking
freedom.
around
I don't have any of it. I'm
the
leaving.
call center and going, piece of cheese, anybody, piece of cheese, piece of cheese.
Yes,
that's what you're doing.
That is exactly what's happening. Or it's because we have a flow of business and customers that come through our channels, and we have to make certain that we have enough people to take care of them, which is the whole reason we hired people in the first place.
Yeah, you're real important. I get it. I'm just saying,
man, this is great.
If you work in one of these Ted Nugent strangleholds, you need to quit. This is a terrible job.
I'm wondering the amount of the American working population that has to deal with this and the amount that doesn't. I wonder which pool is bigger, and I wonder, in Mike's expertise, the jobs the jobs I know you've worked.
Yeah.
They fit into this category here.
I'm just saying, you just will
And-
hand out
and
some
the rest of
handcuffs
us are
on the
over
way
here.
in. Hey, man, chain yourself to the desk. We'll let you out for lunch at a time we decide, and then we're going to chain you to the desk again.
Man. I would just love to see Mike interviewing a panel of people that are looking for HR and or RMT jobs.
I do great at job interviews. You would be amazed.
Yeah, you're going to be interviewing for a resource management job. Mike comes in. You think you tell me when I'm supposed to eat? You think you have any control over my works going on? Absolutely not. I take a lunch when I want to, and it will be for as long as I want to.
You live in the illusion of freedom. It's smoke, man.
Please
It's a vapor.
please go to like a call center office park.
I worked in a call
picket
center.
them.
I got fired.
The people that work in call centers, a lot of, okay, don't get me wrong, call centers are terrible. They're just terrible. They're meant to be human wheelhouses. They really are. You get people in, you get people out. There's so many. There's so many meetings for attrition that are just, how can we get people to stop either getting fired or quitting? It's ridiculous.
Yeah, why don't you let them eat when they want, and maybe more people will stay at your
I would
place.
just love to see Mike in this situation, working in this kind of stuff. And the people that say they got fired from call centers, a lot of them it's perfectly justified that they're upset. But some people, it's just like, you got upset because there was someone in charge of you.
Yeah.
Like, that was the whole thing.
No, that's
You got
true.
upset because someone was in charge of you and had say in what you were doing and how you were doing it, and would judge your character and merit, and you just couldn't handle it.
That's exactly
had
why I
to
got
leave.
fired. Yeah. Actually, before I got fired, I quit. I would tell you the story. So I'm supposed to be at work at 7. Old Mike rolls in at 7:05.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. So I think the day's fine. I'm like, this is not a big deal. I'll work an extra 5 minutes. I will work into my cattle lunch, and so maybe I'll just make up the 5 minutes. So I do it, and everything's cool, I think. I show up the next morning at 7, right on time like I'm supposed to, and there my boss has written me up. He put it on my desk, and I thought, that pansy. He wrote me up, and he didn't even have the stones to give it to me.
That's messed up.
And so I waited him out, and he shows up at 8 o'clock. And so I was over by his desk when he showed up, and I said, you put this right up on my desk? He goes, yeah, you were 5 minutes late yesterday. I said, not your concern anymore, because I quit. He goes, are you kidding me? You're going to quit over this? I said, you're too much of a chicken to come write me up in person. You got to put it on my desk. I'm leaving. I'm out of here. And I walked out, and it was done.
Okay, there's a couple things that I'm going to comment on being someone who does this kind of stuff, okay? First off, yeah, he was a pansy for not coming and talking to you.
Okay, good.
He should have done so. That's ridiculous that he didn't. Second off, the fact that you thought you were going to get fired for the 5 minutes, I don't think you were going to get fired, Mike. I think you were just being written up, and then you quit.
I don't like getting written up.
This was not a situation where you quit before they could fire you.
Here's the thing.
You were 5 minutes late one time. They wrote you up, and you went, not in my house.
I mean,
and you quit.
I mean, there's
I don't have a piece of paper that has my name and some kind of character flaw on it. I'm getting out of here.
It's pretty much like your dad walking through the living room snapping a belt. You're like, hey, what's going on here? That's what that was. It was a belt snap. And I'm like, okay, you either going to hit me with the belt or you ain't going to hit me with the belt. But you're not going to terrorize me. So, like, either you go fire me or you ain't.
You're the only person. You thought the terror was in a first-level write-up for 5 minutes late.
Yeah.
Mike does not do passive-aggressive white-collar behavior.
No.
Agreed. As you should not do passive-aggressive white-collar behavior, which is the entirety of call centers.
Mike's that guy. You guys seen Back to the Future 2?
Yes.
Where Marty McFly ends up trying to go back to his own house, but the reality has changed, so he ends up in somebody else's house.
Yes.
And that Samuel L. Jackson guy comes running out, and he's like, "We will not be terrorized." That's Mike responding to a low-level write-up.
Literally no disciplinary action. The guy didn't even feel the need to have a conversation with you because it really wasn't that big of a deal. He just had to document it because his HR processes said so, and I could promise you that's the situation. He had to write it up because someone told him he had to, but he thought it was so inconsequential, he wasn't going to waste your time with the conversation, and you took it as, you passive-aggressive boob.
Yeah.
I will not take this tyranny. I will not take this.
Shoot, this is true. Someone tried to write me up at the last job I had, and I said, he goes, I think we're going to have to write you up. And I'm like, if you do, you just will sign my termination papers because I won't stand for it.
Mike is either completely in the clear or completely out of the place.
Yeah, I don't do threatening write-ups. You're either going to fire me or I'm going to work here.
That's the entire HR system.
No,
That's how
I don't
that
like
works.
it.
We have to have an escalating process. Oh, my gosh. Oh, man. I write HR processes. Like, this is what I do. I write performance plans for improvement all the time for
You're
many
missing
businesses.
out on great employees like me.
Apparently, I'm missing out on the guys like Mike that are like, you going to threaten me with that or you going to fire me? No, Mike, this is intentionally not firing you. It's just letting you know there are rules that you signed up to follow.
Yeah.
You didn't follow them this one time.
On accident.
I need documentation that says that
I'm going to keep in a file to use against you later.
Yes, it is, because if you become a chronic issue where it's 5 minutes here, but then it's another 12 5-minute times, then you're a chronic issue.
I think you're a chronic issue for being an overbearing warlord.
Oh my gosh, it's killing me.
So I actually had I didn't get to the point of trying to quit, but I remember. So I also worked in a call center, and I have the same problem. I'm late. I just don't show up to places on time. I was 5 minutes late. And I was 5 minutes late like 3 days in a row, and they did that. They said, "Look, we're going to write you up." I said, "All right. I tell you what, I will accept this write up. You do me one favor." I said, "I want you to pull last month, and you tell me how many phone calls I took, and then tell me how many phone calls the next highest number of phone call person took." And like I had whooped him by 1,000 calls. I was kicking tail.
Yep.
And I said, You still gonna write me up on that 5 minutes? And they're like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Well, that gambit didn't pay off."
Hey, you should have quit. That'll show them.
Yeah, they would have really known what you were talking about if you would have quit over the 5 minute write up.
Yeah.
And then yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
I took it like a man.
It's the crappy cattle mentality. That's we have so many people we cannot let out in anything, because if corporations that are that size let out on anything, they have to do it for everybody, and they're missing out on so much stupid money. And it's dumb. I hate it. Working in call centers, I hate it. But I worked in call centers as HR.
Here's the thing, though, is what you don't realize is that company went on without me and did just fine.
Yes.
It made zero
Oh, no.
impact.
We all realized that, Mike.
But
Every one of us were fully aware of that.
guess who walked out of that building smiling and no longer slave to your corporate shell game?
Slave to your
Mike.
corporate shell game. Oh my gosh, I have written up. I mean, way too many people to remember, but like I've only had a few of those kind of conversations. I will tell you, those are my favorite. Is when I have to write somebody up, reasonably write them up in my opinion because they messed something up. They knew they did. I would usually have a couple conversations before I write someone up about anything. It's never a surprise, but it's always. It was a few people that would just be like, "This is absolutely ridiculous that you're doing this," and I'm like, Jerry, I talked to you 3 days ago. And I told you, if you do this one more time, I'm going to write you up. I have a piece of paper with your signature on it that says those exact words. That goes, hey, man, if I do this again, you can write me up. That was 3 days ago, Jerry. That was less than 72 hours ago. And here we are now, and you've done it again. And I'm doing exactly what I promised you I would do. And you are just mesmerized at the thought process.
Yeah.
You are just taken aback at the thought that I have the audacity to write you up.
I mean, told you already controlled my lunch. You just as well whoop me. Hit me with your whip.
Yes, you sheep, Jerry. Get over here and sit down. We're talking.
Yeah.
You either pull your weapon or go back to your mama.
Yeah, that's the thought. You either unsheath that smoke wagon or you get out of here.
You unsheath this smoke wagon.
I ain't gonna watch
Did you just dirty Harry the HR process?
I'm not gonna watch you brand your shit around and act like you're a bad man.
Unsheath that smoke wagon.
Either you shoot me or holster it. That's it. I'm not going to listen to this half-veiled threat.
Mike is the 1870s American outlaw in the Old West to corporate America.
I got to be honest. I'm about impossible to manage. I would hate to be the guy in charge of me. It's a horrible.
Oh my gosh,
it's a horrible position.
Whatever,
to be in.
man. When I start my own company, I'm gonna hire you to train my HR managers.
Yeah,
because you're gonna say you unsheath that smoke wagon or I'm out of here.
I should train HR people. Here's the kind of
you really should.
Here's
I
the kind of dude you're gonna have to deal with.
I have trained countless people, and I wish I would have had you as a point of reference to go. Here's the deal. Here's about as bad as it's gonna get. If you can train for this and just get down the drills of dealing with Mike, then you can deal with anybody. I've fired people on their birthday and had them cry to me while I packed up their cake. And I can't even imagine the kind of training that I could develop with you. Unsheath that smoke wagon. That's the greatest thing I've ever heard in my entire life, and I love it. Oh, man, that's great.
I remember they used to pass around these cards at this office building. You know, they're like, sign this. I'm like, I don't know this guy. Just sign it. It's his birthday. I said, I don't give a rip. I don't know him. They're like, it's Taco Tuesday. I said, not for me. I brought sandwiches. I hate it here.
People, I hope you realize there were manager meetings that were about you. People had to meet with their bosses to figure out what to do with Mike. That's a real thing. And I can guarantee you, if I could go back in time to talk to those managers, I could sit in as a fly on the wall and the conversation's about Mike. What are we going to do with him now? We tried Taco Tuesday. He brought Sloppy Joes. He didn't care. How do we motivate this guy to do anything? I don't know. Give him an unstructured lunchtime. It'll be fine. He'll figure it out.
He seems to really like freedom.
I would love to see your discussion logs that say, I brought a write-up to him, but then he talked about a smoke wagon, and I was very confused. I didn't know what he meant, but I think it might have been a threat, and I kind of need to escalate this through the HR structure.
Yeah. Here's the deal. This is the postal advice. Don't work in an office building. It's the worst, man. It is the worst. It's a cattle pen for people.
Oh my gosh,
you gotta stay
great.
out of there.
Oh man,
they give you air conditioning. Ooh.
Your incentivization is that you're not hot all the
Look,
time.
you've been here a year. Here's a cup to tie you to your desk longer.
Oh
so
my
you won't
gosh.
get up and get more coffee.
Oh man. So I've been a part of way too many attrition meetings that are all talking about like how do we keep people here? How do we motivate people? How do we give them what they want? And I wish that you could have been sitting in on some of those as we're sitting there going, okay, we did gift cards last month. The months before we did like a coffee break for everybody that did a good job. And we got an extra 15-minute break that's all paid and all this different stuff. And you just be sitting in the corner, kicked up with a hat tipped over your head and then look up every 10 minutes and go, that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. And they're all like, wait, what do you mean, Mike? And you come up Old West style and sit there and talk about it like, you want to incentivize people? Take the chains off, man.
Let them free.
Let them do what they want.
Yeah.
Take that phone gun away from their temple.
You think that he cares about after-call work? That means nothing to a real man.
Hey,
he doesn't care about your management of time. He takes the time it needs to do the thing.
Yeah. That's exactly right.
How long did that phone call take? As long as it took.
Here's the thing: is I believe all this to be true.
I know you do. That's what's killing me.
I believe that if you let people do work, nobody wants to show. There's like 10% of the population that wants to show up and do crappy work because that's what they want to do. The other 90% just want to show up, make money, not be hassled, and feel proud of what they did. And if you tool them up and let them go, they'll do it.
Oh man, I'd love to see you actually work in a management structure in corporate America. You will see that those are some skewed numbers, my friend.
But here's the thing: is corporate America has set it up.
Oh, we're the reason?
Yes, you have. You've set it up to placate people.
No, I think that is true. Actually, I think the balance starts to tip is like when you present people with an environment of which you cannot actually tool them up and let them go and be proud of their work. They will simply then try to game the system because then you've turned it against them.
Right.
It ceases being something that they feel like they're contributing to and starts to be something where they're just trying to get as much as they can out of the relationship. And so, which is funny because the vast majority of corporate propaganda is attempting to get you to do that very thing, is to take pride in your work, to care about the output. And here's for the most part, like people that have been the crappiest jobs ever, most of them actually like and care about the customers.
Mm-hmm.
They actually want to do a good job for someone. The whole framework is just not set up to make them feel that way. Like the corporate words tell you that, and the mind frame of the person doing the work wants that. But all the structure in the middle actually is points at the other direction. It says, "Hey, we want you to do a really good job. By the way, we don't trust you, so I need to know exactly where you're at all times. Hey, we really value you." But then I'm going to give you something so inconsequential to justify or to say how much I like your work.
Yeah.
Right? And to say, look, you're the most important thing that goes on. That's why we pay you the least amount of anybody. Like, no one's buying that crap. They're not dumb. People aren't stupid. And so, like, they don't believe the words. And so, yeah, you don't get the best out of people because you've turned them into your adversary simply by the structure that you have.
Correct.
Yeah.
I remember the day that they dropped off that cup to my desk. They were handing out cups, right? 1 year anniversary. And there was like a whole row of us. And then they get to me, they drop a cup, the thank you, drop a cup, and they'd put a cup at my desk, and I say, money. And they say, it's your 1 year anniversary. I said, yeah, money. I don't need a cup. I need money. Can we give him a raise?
Awesome.
He goes, no raises. I go, I don't want the cup. I want a raise.
That's freaking great.
And they go, we're not giving out raises. We're giving out cups. I go, keep it. Money. That's what I want.
It's real funny, right? Like the equipment, some of that stuff's not super cheap, and so it's like a white elephant gift.
Yeah.
Like people giving you crap you don't want. Like it's a pamphlet. Here, take this. You throw it away.
Yeah.
Like it's that type of behavior.
Yeah,
hey,
right.
We really appreciate you. Here's something you probably don't like.
Yeah. Here's a cup with our logo on it. Why don't you give me a cup with my logo on it? That's important to me. You gave me a cup with your logo.
I'm
on
going
it.
to get a cup with Mike's face on it and give it to him.
I'm just saying.
I care about you, Mike. Thanks for everything.
It's 3 levels up. They're coming up with this stuff, and they're like,
Agreed.
The masses will think this is cool. How low do you think of the masses that think that they want a comb with the lion on it to represent your company? What I mean, I don't want that. I want a raise. I want money, or I want to feel appreciated here, and that cup doesn't do it, and the comb doesn't do it.
Right. Well, like at the very least, to say, hey man, you want a comb? I say, yeah, bump my pay, and I'll go choose my own comb.
Yeah.
I didn't ask you for like if I need a comb, the last person I'm going to send is my supervisor Tom to go to the Walgreens and pick one out for me.
Here's the deal, man. I'm going to talk on the other side for a second, though, because the dude that's handing out the cups usually has absolutely no power to do anything like that. And so he agrees, or he or she agrees, that you should have gotten a raise. But when they brought that up, they were told, nope, they get cups, and you're the one who has to go give it to them.
And he's less of a man for continuing to abide by that.
Agreed.
You want to just lose his job over a cup to give to you?
But you can bridge the gap. You say, I set up a cup table. You want one, get one. Otherwise, I'm chucking them. Win-win. Then you don't have to
Otherwise, I'm chucking them.
Everybody one at a time.
Again, Mike's black and white reaction. You either come get the cup, or I'm going to break them in the bathroom. That's it.
We can't possibly keep these in a box in a storage closet for the next time we roll out these cups. Mike goes, hey, man, start a bonfire with those cups out back. And what you do, buy me the marshmallows so I can roast them. It's going to be awesome.
I love the places I work.
Man.
I don't like working wherever
here's
you
the
guys
deal.
work.
I'm going to develop a human resources consulting business. And I'm going to come in and I'm going to present it and I'm going to jazz it up a bit, and people are going to be like, wow, this is going to be a really good place. And then I'm just going to have Mike come through.
Yeah.
And he's just going to walk in and do seminars with HR and go, everything you do is meaningless.
Yeah.
You are all meaningless. You are literally cogs in a chain machine, and all it's doing is enslaving the American people.
Yeah.
Like straight up Mike Panther Party walking through.
Oh,
having
man.
these meetings.
I love it. I think this would be awesome. We should present a bunch of office scenarios for Mike to deal with.
Oh, 100%. I'm working on it in my head already.
Hey, scenario 1. You bring donuts for the whole office. 5 people come to get it, and there are 7 donuts remaining. What do? And some people say, take it out to the floor and see if anybody wants one. Mike says, you put them down in the garbage disposal one by one.
And make sure that you tell everybody to show up on their
and you
scheduled
call out
break.
the number as they go. Jelly donut number 2.
Yeah. See, and I would have said, do you know how many people work here? You didn't bring the right amount of donuts. And frankly, these are grown men. They get 2 donuts per man. We should have been up at least 12 donuts. How did we end up? And who buys a croller? Well, there ain't no 85-year-old man working here.
Hey, crullers are good. Crullers are good,
I'll take
man.
one cruller, one Danish.
What I'd love to see is we're having an office potluck, and Tammy's a vegan. How does Mike handle the situation?
Looks like you're sack lunching it today, Tammy, because it's potluck day. You don't want to eat what people are giving you. Sit back down.
Tammy's upset that Joe brought in hamburger meat because Tammy thinks that's animal slaughter. And she's set up a sign next to it, and Joe's upset. Mike, what do?
Yeah, fire
You
Joe.
fire both Joe and Tammy because they're messing up the office workflow.
Yeah.
We don't give a crap about the sloppy joes or the lack thereof. They're both troublemakers. Get rid of them.
Taking the potluck and making it about themselves. We don't have time for this.
Mike scheduled a separate potluck for both Joe and Tammy.
Yeah, at their house.
At their house. Tammy, we're doing a vegan potluck. Oh, yeah? What time? It's going to be next Thursday at 12 o'clock. Well, okay, I'm not working that day. Yeah, exactly. It's at your house.
Yeah, your unemployment check should cover it.
We're not going to fight your unemployment. We really want you gone.
Yeah.
Oh, man, that's great.
All right, you're listening to Live from the Path. I hope this inspires you for whatever you got going on the next day.
Yeah. Here's the deal, what you've learned today. You need to reread Revelation with a clear head, and you need to quit that job.
Unsheath that smoke wagon.
Yeah. Now's the time in the midst of a pandemic and 20% unemployment. It's time to cut the reins. Make some 3-bean salad at home on your own. Live life.
Nobody gives a crap about the chili cook-off.
I'm telling you right
no
now.
one was inspired to work because they got to try your mango salsa.
Mike, well, let me ask you this question. You ever bring anything for a food day?
No.
Of course
Ever?
he didn't.
Did you eat any of it?
Not unless my wife finds out about it, and then I'll bring something. She'll say, hey, we should make
Yeah,
something.
did you take part?
Huh.
You didn't eat any of the potluck food either?
Oh, yeah, every once in a while. I will.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. What's wrong with that? That's why they call it a potluck.
Because who's lucky today? This guy.
I intentionally didn't answer because I wanted you to answer your question.
I'm in luck. There's food here.
Hey, I work here too. I can take part in this.
I mean, what am I
Hey,
gonna,
Mike, what'd you bring? Nothing? Tammy brought that 3-bean salad.
I'm going to be the third chip guy. You know what I'm saying? Like, I ain't making nothing at home. Hey, we all brought ruffles. I mean, it's stupid. They got, and here's the deal. If the potluck at a workplace, the workplace always covers the main ingredient, right? They're always like, we're doing pulled pork, or we're doing hot dogs and hamburgers and stuff. And then everyone brings in sides. And then there's like 6 dudes that bring potato salad, and one of them's any good. And then there's lots of desserts, and I'm like, whatever. I will just eat the hamburger or the main course that the company provided, and then I don't have to feel bad. Unless someone specifically says, you should try my potato salad.
Yeah, I mean,
don't mind if I do.
That's what I get a lot. I actually rarely participate in that stuff. And then someone comes by and goes, hey, Ben, did you get some food? I'm like, nah, I wasn't going to do that. And they're like, oh, you should get in there. I said, I didn't bring anything. Oh, you can go ahead and grab something. And then I'm in.
Potluck.
And then I'm in.
I'm in luck.
Ben has immunity because he waits for permission.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, I don't do that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't Wyatt Earp the place.
Oh, man. I seriously wish I could be a fly on the wall in the kind of HR conversations that have been had about
Hey,
you.
okay, Boova, here's what we could do. Because no one goes to the Instagram for our legit content. You could do an HR symposium, a 5-minute HR talk of you interviewing Mike on random topics.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah, Live from the Path does HR with Boova.
Oh, my gosh, absolutely.
I think it's going to be a fantastic
This is
time.
going to be great.
I can't guarantee what I'm going to say.
It
It might be iffy at best.
this is going to be phenomenal. I can't wait.
Okay, you're listening to Live from the Path. What do we got here?
You want to do some advice?
Yeah, oh yeah, we're firing on all cylinders here.
Okay, hold on.
What do you mean we're firing on all cylinders?
Yeah.
Does that mean it's almost time?
Yeah, that means the show couldn't be better. I mean, we've narrowly not let the crowd down yet.
We'll dig it. Yeah, let's bring some advice then.
Oh, yeah, okay. Friendship ends with flood of social media messages.
It's gonna be great.
Okay, here we go. Oh, yeah, hold on. They want me to accept the cookies.
That's how you get into that potluck.
Well, did they pass a law or something that said everybody has to say that they're putting cookies out? Like, because every website I go to anymore says, "Hey, we use cookies," and you have
That was
to know.
part of the internet, the big internet push that happened a couple months ago, wasn't it?
The Frank Dodd.
It's not.
What?
It's not Dodd-Frank.
No, it's not Dodd Frank.
The Dodd Frank.
Don Frank. That Don.
There we go. Dear Life from the Path. I had this friend that I met 8 months ago at a local boxing gym here in Chicago.
Yep.
We got along extremely well and even hung out a couple of times. However, she left her job at the gym 2 months later and things started falling apart. Oh, she worked there.
You didn't meet her at the gym as casual acquaintances.
She's forced to be there like she works for Boova's Cattle Ranch, and then you just happen to go visit her.
I met my new friend at the place they were working.
Okay.
Okay, here we go. However, she left her job at the gym 2 months later and things started falling apart. I started sending excessive messages on her social media, and she didn't like it. By the following month, she had enough. She told me I have an unhealthy attachment to her and we would go our separate ways. She blocked me from all social media and she hasn't contacted me since. 4 months later, I am better, but she is still in my head. I really want to write her a nice and sincere letter and reconcile with her and have her be my friend again. I don't know that I was doing something wrong. I've tried reaching out to her multiple times recently via email to no avail. In the meantime, one of her friends told me she has moved to Texas, which makes it even more heartbreaking. How can I show her I can be her friend again without exhibiting these same, quotes, toxic behaviors? Guy with a wounded heart.
Oh.
Guy with a... Oh, no.
Oh, yep. Nope.
You walk away now.
Yep. Answer is nope.
She was never your friend.
Yep.
She worked at a place you went to.
That's right.
Yep. You are a creepy Belvedere.
There are about 15 different references that I have in my head right now of how you thought you were besties with insert person here because you went to their place of work and took part. No.
Nope.
They were being courteous because they were being paid to be courteous.
Mm-hmm. I sent her excessive messages on her social
You
media.
even called it excessive.
He knows the deal.
You were a creeper,
and
Willard.
She didn't like it. Yeah, that makes sense.
Well, but you notice he said, and he said, I don't think I did anything wrong.
Then
Later
why do
on.
you call it excessive?
Yeah. Yep. No,
that's
a no.
recognizing that there's a degree that's acceptable and you've crossed it.
Yeah. He said, I didn't know that I was doing something wrong.
Oh.
That was his phrase.
Well, yeah, you did.
Yes, you did. That's a
Yeah,
lie.
you
You're
did.
throwing that in there to make yourself look better in this situation. You're a creep.
Yeah.
Leave her alone.
Now
And she's moved?
I bet she'd move away from him.
Yeah.
So now here's the thing. I totally understand. There's a thought that once you recognize that you've handled something incorrectly, there's a desire to want to rectify it.
Of course.
You're not owed that though.
No.
Like it is not yours to have. Because that is more about you than it is about the other person. The other person has found resolution by separating themselves from your crazy behind.
Right.
Okay? So they're fine. They're doing all right without you.
She will not be benefited by your reconciliation at all.
That's right. This is for you, and they don't owe that to you. So you're just going to have to take her easy. You do not get to. You don't have any right to contact them. They've already made it clear that she doesn't want you to contact her, and so it's a no. You're going to drop it, and you're going to leave it be.
Yeah, learn for the future. Don't do this again.
Yeah, you come on way too strong.
Absolutely. You're creepy.
You're like a bad cologne. All right.
Stetson?
Did you say Stetson's a bad cologne?
Yes.
Oh, man, that cuts deep.
Yeah, it does.
I Stetson tonight, even.
Yeah.
Really, fellas?
Yeah.
Oh,
I bought the
Gentlemen.
special Stetson beard wax.
They say the devil drives a Coupe de Ville.
Yeah.
gentlemen.
Not my kind.
No,
You're the kind of fellas that also make references to smoke wagons. So I'm not in any way surprised by the Stetson comments here.
Just because I'm not popular on your scentless Instagram doesn't mean that I don't know this world.
All right, here's the deal. You need to text us on the complaint line and let us know whether or not that Stetson is a disgusting cologne.
Yeah. I mean, I don't wear cologne.
I don't either.
I only buy organic,
What? How did I know?
small batch lotions.
I
and
generate
rubs.
my own musk.
It's absolutely disgusting. Ode de Mike is the worst thing ever.
That makes me uncomfortable. I wish I hadn't have said that.
Why does that smell like American Spirit cigarettes and taco meat? What's going on?
That smells like potluck. All right, hold on. We got to get through this.
Sorry.
Secular says, you have done enough already. You have done so much, in fact, that the young woman felt she was being stalked. She has sent you clear signals that she's not interested in being friends or anything more with you. For your own sake, take the hint, leave her alone, and please learn from this experience so you won't repeat it with someone else. Yeah, that's solid advice. You're done, dude. You're done with that woman forever. It's not ever going to happen.
Yep, gone day.
Okay, here we go. Dear Live from the Path. I am 60 and my husband is 64.
Yep.
We lost everything in the recession. A dear friend helped us get back on our feet, and my son and husband built a home on land we purchased with our last dollar. We have a mortgage and all the bills that come with it. We have no savings, pension, or life insurance. I work 40 hours a week, and my husband is partially disabled from an autoimmune disease. My son, who is studying to become an RN, is 33. He lives with us and pays $550 a month, which pays the property taxes. He has slowly brought his girlfriend into our home, whom we like, but she does not contribute financially. I have asked my son for some extra money, and he refused. We will always appreciate how he pitched in and helped us in creating a new home. What can I do without starting a family war?
So is like the girlfriend lives with you now? Is that what's happening?
Yeah, so it sounds like the recession put him in the tanker. The friend got him some money, and the son helped him build the house, and then moved in with him because he's studying to become an RN at 33, and he pays $550 a month, which pays for the property taxes.
That's $6,000 a year in property taxes?
I mean, that's pretty steep, but all right, I get it. So at the end of the day, his girlfriend sounds like she's moving basically in with him.
Yeah, okay.
In his room. But the wife or the grandma thinks, hey, or the mama thinks, hey, I should be getting extra rent money for this woman. So here's a question. It's like a hotel room. Are you buying the space or the number of people in it?
Space.
Space. Yeah.
So he didn't owe you nothing.
No. If I have a one-bedroom apartment and I'm there by myself and then I let somebody else in, my rent doesn't change.
Your rent is the same.
Right.
Correct. So assuming that the girlfriend is sleeping in the son's room, which I would make that assumption, and she hasn't, I don't know, changed out the living room furniture or made any other broad moves to take the place over, you're not owed any more money.
Yeah, I mean, it's not but she's acting like it's a money thing. It's not a money thing.
Right.
That doesn't all seem like it's all tied in money. The levels of dollars we're talking about here is pretty high. But in either case,
now she is using utilities.
Right.
Yeah, I mean,
eating the food maybe.
Well, okay. So, I think she wants the money from her. Because, like, I bet if you ask because $550, like I'm saying, it seems excessive for property taxes. It's probably enough to cover utilities and taxes as well.
Right.
Because, like, if they really were that tight, I can't imagine whatever kind of scratch they put together to buy enough land to owe $6,000 a year in property taxes.
Yeah, here's the deal. I've met people that are destitute and they don't purchase land and build a home.
Yeah.
So
you buy a mobile home.
Yeah, I've lost all my money during the recession thing. I hear what you're saying. It was probably a hard hit, but like I know people that have no money. You are not one of them. I cannot purchase, even working 60 hours a week, I cannot purchase land and build my own home. It's just not in the cards for me.
Yeah.
And so like I find it real hard to take in that you are so destitute that you're in the financial straits that you bought land and built a home and now the 550 is not covered anymore. That's the wrong reason. You have a reason. That's just not it.
Yeah, just say, look, I'm not comfortable with my son's girlfriend living in our house, and I don't know how to bring it up.
Yeah, that's the right question.
Okay, so let's answer that one.
Okay.
What did she say?
What should the woman say?
Yeah.
Look, I'm not comfortable with your girlfriend moving in here.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a pretty basic conversation.
Yep.
Yeah. I don't know, Ma. I love her, and I want her to stay in my room. Well, here's the deal. I can't allow it. Yeah, I don't like it. It makes me uncomfortable.
Now, what if he said, oh, well, then we'll get married? Can we stay here as a married couple?
Yes.
Yeah.
Done.
Yeah.
We're pretty easy to deal with here.
There it is. Done. All right. Secular says, it would have been interesting to know what your reason your son gave for his refusal. Continue talking with him about it. Unless the girlfriend is unemployed, she should at least pay for her food and a share of the utilities if she is living in your home.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't know. Is she eating all your food? That seems weird.
Maybe she's a big lady.
Maybe she eats a lot of food. Doesn't matter who it is. Maybe every day is potluck for her. I'm in luck.
Tammy brought that 3-bean salad again.
I'm going to eat all the beans.
Yes, indeedy. Feed the needy. Let's do it.
All right, one more.
Dear Live from the Path.
Yep.
My husband and I have been married more than 40 years, but we have lived separately in a house and guest house on jointly owned property for the last 10.
Oh.
We split bills and communicate only when necessary via text.
Oh.
Okay. Oh boy. I am somewhat afraid of him and try to distance myself from him and his friends and family.
No.
He has been involved with multiple women and men throughout our marriage, but when I have tried to end our marriage, he has pushed me to remain. He is currently openly involved with a woman he has, quotes, dated for many years. Several acquaintances recently informed me that the two of them are sporting matching wedding bands. I don't really care, but I don't want any further humiliation. I feel like a sword is hanging over my head. What can I do? Well, I think you should divorce him.
Yeah. It's got to be more complicated than this. When she says he pushed me to stay.
I don't think violently.
Oh.
I think he just insisted.
I mean, say, I'm not open to your persuasion, dude who is cheating on me with other men and ladies.
Yeah.
And lives in a separate thing on the property. Weirdo. Yeah.
Yeah.
I will be getting a divorce. Now, I mean, like, I get it. There's a broader conversation around, hey, man, she may make this decision, but, like, where does it put her financially? Where does it put her?
Right.
Blah, blah, blah. I get it. The question is that here's at least you got to have an honest conversation about it, right? Like if you say, look, if I leave, this is going to happen. I'm not going to have any money. I'm not going to have blah blah blah. Okay, well, is that worth it? I mean, understanding that like if I can't change the scenario, and you think that there's an imbalance of power in the relationship, the question ultimately that you actually have the capability of answering is it worth it?
Yeah.
If you end up with nothing, we get to keep your job, or whatever, and so you got a little bit of money, but you won't be able to live the same lifestyle that you have. But you're no longer living with the sword over your head. Is it worth it? And if it isn't, then you're gonna have to ignore what he's doing and go about your business.
Yeah.
And I would pray for him and send the spirit ahead, and maybe the spirit will shake something out with him because it sounds like he could use it. But past that, if it's worth it, then go ahead and do it. And live in the freedom that your lower money but no sword reality causes.
Because let's say that you. What's the difference between him pushing for this and you pushing for this, right? Like, this other woman's not going to tolerate this forever, I guess. And so like you're right. If the sword is over your head, and he says we're going to get a divorce, you're going to be in the same pile, right? You're in the exact same situation as you were if you'd have brought it up. So, I mean, it's probably best to get a move on it and take a stride at it and get it moving in the right direction. At least talk to somebody and see what it would look like, right? Are you entitled to this and whatever, and how that would all shake out? At least have a somewhat idea on how this is going to go before the sword gets dropped on you.
Yeah, here's what's tough is that there's an illusion of lack of control in certain situations, and like there's some extreme situations where you actually don't have any control. But most of the time, it's just a crappy situation, and you feel stuck. Like, I shouldn't have to leave this relationship in such inequitable standing, right? I should get half of whatever, and he should pay for the things that he's done and whatever, right? I agree. I wish that was the case, but it's not always the case. Sometimes your reality is just harsh and it sucks. But like, you do still retain some level of control. It just depends on whether that is acceptable to you or not. Like, as much as I don't like the reality that's facing you, it is the reality that's facing you, and so this is generally a question that tends to fall on ladies, which is, am I willing to accept, is it better on the other side by the measurements that I care about? And a lot of times that it is. And it's not gonna feel like that, and it's unfair, but like, you leave the job, and you leave the man, and you get out of the relationship, and you don't stand for situations that you don't want to be in, even when the power seems imbalanced. And I know I'm making it sound easier than it is, but there is a reality that you do have more control. It will cost something, and it's unfair that it costs not being able to have the situation that you wanted. But a lot of times it probably is worth it.
Yeah, I think if you're really worried about the analogy of having a sword over your head, the best way to get out is to move. Is just to get away from the sword. Don't stand underneath the sword. That's dumb. That's not smart living. All right, Secular says, what you can do is contact an attorney. Tell the attorney exactly what you've told me, that you and your husband haven't cohabited in a decade, that he and his longtime girlfriend are purporting to be married and wearing matching wedding bands, that you want a divorce, but you're afraid of his reaction. The lawyer can guide you from there. Please don't wait.
Yeah, that's control. Control what you can, and that's a perfectly reasonable.
Can we do one more? This one's super interesting.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, last one. Dear Life from the Path, I am a woman who has had genital herpes since I was in my 20s.
Okay.
I'm single and in my 60s now.
Oh, okay.
I've always disclosed that I have had it and that I treat it daily with medication that suppresses the virus. I've never infected anyone, including my former husband and boyfriends. I do not have outbreaks. I am often rejected by the men I disclose this to. It is demeaning and painful and makes me feel dirty, which I am not. I'm tired of it. Must I continue to disclose it? I know for sure that I'm not passing it on. I haven't given it to anyone in 40 plus years.
Yes.
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 100%. Yes, you have to disclose that.
Yes. here's the thing. You did something that caused you to get drugs. You participated in something that got you to herp. And you don't get to just hide it and then give it to other people. You say it doesn't happen. Well, here's the thing. I should know whether I'm willing to take that chance or not.
Right.
Yeah. On top of the fact,
How many of these conversations are you having?
I mean, I don't know how many do. You must be one foxy 60-year-old woman. I mean,
Well, it's 40 years of this, though. It may not be that frequent.
I'm tired of it. Listen, here's the thing, and this is
I get
true.
tired of that after a couple conversations.
This is true with a lot of things, right? Nobody likes to be reminded about the worst mistake they ever made. And beaten up over it over and over and over again. It is demeaning and it sucks, and you're like, man, I wish I could get past this. But some things cut deep and stay there.
Yep.
And there's nothing you can do about it. There's absolutely nothing you can do. You did a thing, or or something happened to you. I don't know how you got it. Maybe something bad happened to you. It's just sad. The whole thing's sad, right? But like at the end of the day, you don't get to let other people's poor behavior or poor morality dictate what yours is going to be. And yours is going to be, no matter how many crappy times that people are going to say no or call you disgusting, if you're not dirty, you know you're not dirty. So they don't get to win that round just because they say so, right? And if you have a disease that you have to disclose to people and some people take it poorly, it's not people you wanted to spend time with anyway, right? And like these are things that I'd say to my 8-year-old daughter, like, hey man, look, other people don't get to dictate your behavior by what comes out of their mouth. You are in control of you, and you make choices, and you are going to live an integrity and honest life where if there's a chance that someone's going to get a sexually transmitted disease from you, you should tell them. That's only because you don't want to have the slings and arrows passed off to somebody else, right? If you know that the lifestyle that you've lived has caused you nothing but pain and darkness and people being mean to you, why would you want to pass that on to somebody else, an unwitting person who has no idea? Like, at least tell them what they're getting into. That seems fair.
Yeah, I agree. You got to keep telling them. I might recommend a lack of promiscuity, or maybe tone it down a bit. Here's the deal. Marry someone that you don't have to bring it up every time. They're well aware of it. I'm sure your ex-husband you told once. You didn't have to remind him every day.
No, that's true.
Committed relationship, you don't have this problem.
Right.
Yeah, you're trying to have, in a very passive manner, conversations that are meant for very, very close relationships. And so the inconvenience is brought about by one, that's the fact that you have it, and two, to say you had the conversation more than once is related to the fact that there's maybe too much casualness in some of these relationships, of which you could just share it one time and then continue to have sex for the next 50 years, and you don't have this problem.
Yeah, correct. Then it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
All right. Secular says, tempting as it is to maybe fudge the truth, I think you should continue to be honest about your status. If you lie and the person you are involved with finds your medication, the relationship will be over anyway. I don't know if you have considered this, but have you thought about dating men who also have herpes? A website that has been mentioned in my column before is hdate.com.
Oh, what?
Is that a herpes date?
Here's the deal. I don't care who's on that website. I want to know who started it. What type of horn dog out there goes, you know what? I'm really having a hard time finding other people with a herp.
Yeah.
And I'd like to have...
And I'm tired of worrying about it. Here's the consequence. I'm living with the consequence of something that I've done, and I'm tired of worrying about it. So I'm just going to find other people that are also in the straits, and we're going to do this. I want to have promiscuous sex with a lot of people who also have the herp.
Yeah. Your founder.
So
Joe Thomas.
Secular recommends going to h-date.com. If you meet someone there, you know you won't be judged. It offers a free dating service through which thousands of men and women meet. Many very nice, eligible people just like you, have herpes and live full, happy lives.
Yeah, I mean, okay, so I made fun of the H-Date website. What's a website of which this would be appropriate? Of similar connotation?
Here's the thing, is like if... it depends on what you're trying to do with a date, right? Like, if you've put all of the weight and joy to be found in sexual relationships, if you believe that is where you're going to find it, then I find you're mistaken anyway. If you have cancer and you just want someone else who has cancer to talk about, to go out on a date with them or feel some companionship or be able to talk to somebody that knows what you're going through, I get it.
Yep.
I think that's just fine. If you're looking for someone to sleep with and have unprotected sex with that already has the disease you have, so it's no harm, no foul. I think you're trying to get water out of a well that doesn't actually offer water. I think that's what I'm getting at. It's like if you think that is going to be the fix to your problem of whatever you're trying to fill the void with, I think you're mistaken.
Yeah, because think of how many relationships people have, that the experience this woman has is something that has happened to her either through by her choice or otherwise, that she has to disclose because how it can harm someone else. But that's only because it could be very obvious if you don't. But I don't know, consider the emotional baggage people carry around that has that very same thing. You get involved with someone and they've got a loaded gun in their mind about how they think about themselves or the rest of the world, and you don't have to say that out loud before you meet them up.
No, that's true. You can bring all kinds of emotional crap into a thing and not mention, oh, by the way, I write excessive notes to people and creep them out to the point where I'm a stalker.
That's right.
Right? They don't make that guy disclose once he walked through the door that he's a crazed fool. Right? So, I can see it both ways.
But the point is that, these are not problems that we're supposed to have. You're not supposed to have this conversation multiple times across multiple people.
To be honest, you're not supposed to have herpes because you got married to the woman that you slept with, and neither one of you had herpes going into it, and you're good to go.
That's right. They don't. Did we talk about this before? Where they don't tell you that in health class? They tried to scare the crap out of me when I was in health class. People just got transmitted diseases just created themselves because people were having sex. That's what I walked out of the health class with. This is I don't read the right magazines, but that's what I thought. I thought AIDS just appears or something like that. And it took me. It probably took me a few years before I'm like, wait a minute, that's not how this works. If you find one person and you marry them and they don't have any of these things, you good. You just fine. This is not going to ever come up again.
Correct. In the Lord's design of what marriage is to be, you, sir, should live a happy and worry-free life about getting the herp. Yeah. You ain't going to get it. If your wife don't have it and you don't have it, you, sir, are solid. No herp for you. So it's hard to wrap up an entire lifestyle and when they're asking a very pointed question on how to continue doing things apart from how God designed it. And that's not the conversation of how to accomplish dating other people with herpes. We're having a hard time getting to the brass tacks because the truth of the matter is what we want to talk about is how the thing that you're looking for is not going to be found on hdate.com, right? And all the other things that you've tried to fill the crack, and you're coming up with a bunch of different ways to do it, and it's never going to be the right way. Hdate. Have you ever seen a website called HR Date, where other HR professionals get together and bore themselves?
Actually, yeah, the paperwork to get onto the website, though, was just insane.
Yeah. I got you, everybody.
Pretty strict application process.
You've been listening to Live from the Path on livefromthepath.org. Here's the deal. Our social media is on fire. It's been blowing up.
And it is not because of Mike.
Yeah.
Because he does things like that.
On fire.
On fire.
Here's the
That's
deal.
going to be a soundbite.
When they figured out, they came up with the term influencer, they had me in mind, right? If anybody knows how to surf the social media waves, it's me and my trusty surfboard. So check us out on Live from the Path on the Insta. Live from the Path can also be found on Facebook. And Frank, I'm going to start making TikTok videos.
And just a heads up, you're not going to find us at Live from the Path on Instagram. You're going to find us at LFTP Show. Live from the Path Show. LFTP
was Live from
Show.
the Path taken?
No, it was us from
by
3
us.
years ago.
Yeah, I lost the password.
Right. Yeah, we're social media influencers. The most successful possible show name we could have had, or Instagram name we could have had, was by us 3 years ago, and we lost the password.
How do we redeem it?
I think I might have released it, Booba.
Yeah, I would have to delete our entire presence now and recreate it.
I'd hate for them 10 people to get disappointed.
We have 25 followers.
That's pretty good. That's 25 more than we had a couple weeks ago.
Yes, exactly.
All right.
I think we can dig with LFTP Show.
LFTP Show.
All right.
And if you do search Live from the Path, though, just look for the one that has us, LFTP Show. So you can find us through searching for that, but that's not the name of us. So if you're tagging us in anything, it's LFTP Show. If you are following us on any of our social media platforms, share any of the stuff that you see that you think is funny or you think is interesting. Share it to your followers and friends and fans, and tag us in it. We'd love to be a part of the conversations you're having with the people that are on your pages, so that they can see some of the stuff we're doing as well. If you think somebody's going to dig on some of the stuff we put out, tag us in stuff, share it with them. We'd love to interact with them.
Yeah.
You know what? You should hashtag us HR problem.
Yeah, hashtag us HR problem. Send us bands that you like. Send us bands you don't like, so we have to listen to music that you thought was awful. Yeah. Honestly, send us DMs. I will be monitoring that, and so will the other guys. And so you might get a response. You might get a response from a famous official Instagram.
Yeah.
If you send us a DM and you want to talk
Slide
about
into our DMs.
Hey man, what are your thoughts on horse carriages? And we'll go, oh my gosh, that's crazy. Mike loves horse carriages.
Yeah, Mike Official.
Exactly. At Mike Official is not Mike, but whatever. You can talk to that guy too. So yeah, no, please interact with us. We'd love to see you. Text us on the complaint line. Ben, what's that number
That's
again?
515-517-0085, 515-517-0085. That's call or text the Live from the Path complaint line.
Yeah, absolutely. We'd love to hear from you guys. We like validation that you guys are digging on some of our content. If you've got suggestions for some of the stuff we can put up, or something funny you said to us that you want to make fun of Mike, that's perfectly acceptable too. So
I'm always open.
All right.
You can also get a hold of me on hd.com.
I probably wouldn't put that out to social media,
Nope.
Mike.
Nope.
It's probably a very bad idea for you and your family. So.
That's heavyinfluencer.com. That's where I live.
You've been listening to Live from the Path. Thanks for hanging out with us. We do appreciate it. We will see you next week. In the meantime, be faithful in the means. God will handle the ends. You've been listening to Live from the Path.